Okay, so I couldn't even afford a web site. I had to have a web page. That's how tight things were. So I worked what I had, okay? Did you hear what I just said? I had to work what I had. And I was given an opportunity to have a web presence by having one web page that was on this site, and I put it up, and then about, I would say maybe 2 months later, there's an email that I received, and I'll forget it. The email came from this lady, really nice lady named Lisa. And Lisa emails me because she's looking for a consultant. And she was working for a foundation, and the foundation was doing some consulting with a number of nonprofit organizations in the community here in Pasadena, and they had this thing called curbside consulting, and she already had one consultant that was identified, and they were looking for another consultant, and so she finds me on that one web page, okay, not even a website, and she finds me, and when she finds me, she invites me to come in for a meeting. Well, long story short, that meeting turned into my first major contract, and I'll never forget it. I had landed a contract for like $25,000 to do some curbside consulting over the course of a year for nonprofits, and it ended up turning into 2 years. So listen, that little one page with that web presence was very, very valuable. And that's why I always encourage those that are doing this to get a web presence. But back to my story. I did that. After doing that, the next thing that happens, I end up doing consulting for all of these nonprofits, and that was great. It allowed me to do more consulting and get more potential clients and to work with more people than I could have kind of simply on my own through this partnership. And that partnership was great. So I went from there in doing general consulting to eventually realizing after a couple of years that I wanted to be a little bit more focused. And the area that a lot of people were asking about had to do with grants. And so I decided to get into the whole grant arena and to start doing things focused with grants. And then, and don't forget, I decided that I was going to offer a training, a class in this area. And the class that I decided that I was going to offer was a grant writing class. Now, I'll never forget at the time, I was really new to this thing. And there was this place that I wanted to do this training because I'm like, okay, now I got to get some business. How am I going to get business? And what I had done in times past when I was trying to get business, I'd always offered some trainings. And so this time I decided, you know what, I'm going to offer a grant writing training. And I never forget, I decided to offer this grant writing training. This training that I decided to offer, I wanted to do something that was going to be free because, again, I'm trying to establish myself. I didn't have a history yet. So I decided to offer a free grant writing class. Now, this free grant writing class was like a 3 or 4 hour class I decided to offer. And my professor at the time, he had a book, and he allowed me to sell his book and to keep the proceeds from it because it was an electronic PDF version that he'd given me, and I went and made the printed copies and all that. But I decided to do this, and I decided, okay, great. I went out and got flyers. I plastered flyers everywhere, and it ended up being about 10 to 12 people that showed up. I would say about 8 of those people end up buying the book. I said, okay, hey, workshop will be free, but if you want the book, pay $25. So probably about 8 of them got the book. So I made a few dollars doing that. But there was this lady named Marty, and never forget, Marty was there. She thoroughly enjoyed the training, and she felt like this was something that could be of great value to some of the students at the grad school that she was attending. And so she asked me, hey, would you be open to bring this to my grad school? I'm saying, sure. So she goes and she talks to the school. The school is open to having it as well. And I'll tell you kind of some of the backdrop. She took a long time to kind of get everything situated. So by the time she came to me again, I'm like, okay, it's gonna cost this much. She said, no, but you said it was gonna be free. I said, you know what, I did say that. So I honored my word and went ahead and did the training for free, but we still had a set where the students were going to purchase the book. Now, I'm not sure if you can see this. We've got people over here golfing. So as they're golfing, I'm kind of cautious because some of them don't really know how to golf that well. And this guy just got to hitting the ball. I think the ball almost hit the tree, which almost hit me. So you got to keep an eye on folks sometimes. But back to the story. So I honor my word. I go and I do this training. And as I do this training, I'm thinking to myself, it's gonna probably be another 8 to 10 people that's probably gonna be at this workshop. At tops, I'm thinking maybe 15, okay? I didn't realize that they were gonna send a notification out to a 30-mile radius of all the students in their grad school. There were over 70 people that registered. If I remember correctly, I think it was about 78 people. So you do the math, 78 now times 25. I'm thinking to myself, wow, I'm leaving with 2K. I'm thinking, I need to do some more of these grant writing trainings, okay? And that was the first thing that kind of gave me the impetus of doing more grant trainings, because I love the training aspect, and that's more of kind of who I am. So I went from doing a free workshop at the Boys and Girls Club, from there to doing this training at this graduate school, and now people were coming to me, asking me about writing grants for them, and I was continuously training other people. Now, a couple of amazing things happened in this, and I'll tell you. 2 of the people that came to that training, one was a good friend, and he was needing to raise money for these little flies around here. He was needing to raise money for his youth group. He needed to raise $15,000 or his internship would not end, okay? He would still be on his internship. So he asked me, hey, Rodney, what do I do? And I'll never forget, so I said, Kanoda, have you ever thought about writing a grant? He hadn't at the time, but he comes to that training, and as he comes to that training, he ends up learning what he needed to do to go about getting funded. And from there, he turns around and in less than 6 months, he secures the $15,000 that he needs. He hits me up and like, hey, Rodney, I got funded. And I'm excited for him because 1, his internship gets to end. 2, he gets a chance to take the money and do some good for the young people that he's working with. They bought equipment and all kind of other things. And 3, I'm now not only funded in terms of myself, but now I've helped others to actually get funded. And he was one of the first people that happened with. There was another lady that also came to that training named Kathleen. And Kathleen was bumping her head up against the wall, didn't know what she was doing wrong in terms of why she wasn't getting funded. She was relatively new to grant writing, and the grants just were not getting funded. She took the concepts and she ended up using the principles that I shared with her at this training, and she ended up turning that information and knowledge into, listen to this, $400,000. They were getting funded this grant over the course of 3 years. And she sends me an email. I'll never forget when I got that email. I was thrilled because she was the first one to let me know that she had gotten funded. Kanoda's situation was the second one. So now we're talking about $415,000. And this is just with somebody who hadn't gotten funded nowhere near that amount, but was now just sharing his information and insight. And I was excited about the happenings, the results, because by this time I'm getting ready to get in the process of doing more grant writing myself, but it was powerful to see the impact that these other people were having. Now, think about this. What would have happened if I had let those other people try to talk me out of doing this earlier? You see how one thing is connected with the next? You see how everything that we do is always connected with something else? So that was what happened. I want to tell you what happened after that. So stay tuned. Remember, be brave, be bold, be brilliant, and take action, because change is on the way.